Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back, guys at Magic. This is Hunter and Shane. Say what's up, Shane.
What's up, boy?
So we are back with another upgrade video. This time we are taking a look at Spirit Squadron. That is the new Precon Commander deck that was released with Innistrad Crimson Vow. And this time Shane is going to be taking us through an upgrade with $100. So Shane, you have got $100. How are we taking this in the direction? What commander are you going with? Talk to us now.
So the card that's going to be at the helm of this is the Millicent Restless Revenant. Fucking tongue twister, dude. Uh, it is a 4/4. It costs 7. Seems like a lot, but it says that this spell costs 1 less for each spirit you control. So we're definitely going to be playing a bunch of spirits. It's got flying, and it also says that when this or another non-token spirit you control dies or deals combat to a player, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So that's pretty nuts. All that means is every card that you have, when it attacks and when it dies, it's gonna make more spirits for you. And that's kind of the gist of the deck. I kind of just stuck with no shenanigans, no combo. Just we're gonna go super duper wide and hopefully have a huge board that your opponent will have to deal with at some point. And then when they board wipe you, it's gonna repopulate with a billion spirits again. So that you're gonna just be like, I get it now. You're definitely relentless. That makes a lot of
So
sense.
it's not relentless.
No, I keep wanting to say that's why I want to say relentless. Because you're just being relentless in this deck.
Relentless, restless, revenant. We got the R's.
Unrelentless. Anyways,
So, without
yeah.
further ado, Shane, how did you spend the $100 to
Well,
get this deck to where it is?
I took your $100 and I went to TCG Player and I started looking at other spirits that I thought were cool. But I mean, before I even started looking at cards to cut, I just started looking at cards I would add because I wanted to get an idea of like, all right, I know of because I just love spirits and I know that there's so many spirits that I could put in this deck, but I kind of had to like hone it down. I mean, obviously, if the budget was unlimited, you could be putting a bunch of little spirits in there, and then all the big powerhouses, like the different artifacts and enchantments to make them insane. But I just stuck to kind of, smaller, budgetier. I don't know if that's a word. But anyways, since we're not using the other two commanders, those are just really easy cuts, right? They rely, or they're dealing with like tapping your creatures and untapping, and they get stuff when you tap. So we're just gonna ditch those two, and also I kind of went through any other card that's having to deal with tapping, just because since we're gonna get rid of that as a mechanic, we don't fully care about that. We just care about getting cool spirits in the deck that do interesting ETBs, and then we're gonna go wide with it.
Okay, so Spirit Tribal is the key to the deck.
Yeah.
So, what else did you cut? You said you cut out the two main other commanders, the other
Yep.
legendary creatures. That's Rhoda and Timon.
Yep. That's true. But no, but so it's gonna look weird because I'm cutting spirits, and you're like, well, what the hell? This is a spirit tribal deck, but I'm cutting spirits that, in my opinion, aren't as powerful, and they're also really, really heavy. So like Oyobi, who splits the heavens. I was calling him who splits the heavens. Uh, that card's really cool, and it's a spirit, but it's really expensive. Like that card, Sire of the Storm. I'm cutting that one as it just gets expensive. These are all like they're good spirits. They're just they're heavy. That literally just goes for. I kind of just went through the heavy end of the curve, and I just kind of chopped them, even if they were spirits. Um, so I mean, we'll flash them up on the screen, but basically any card that was a heavy spirit, I figured, hey, we're going to be putting more spirits in. So even though I'm cutting spirits and it looks weird, I think there are cheaper, meaning mana cost, spirits that have better effects than ones that came standard, I guess.
Okay, so what other specifics are you getting rid of?
Uh, Specifically, cards that I just think don't do as much as they could. Things like the Windborn Muse. That's a really cool card, and you know if they have that, the pay to attack you, but we're gonna find way cooler spirits than that. Ghostly Puffer. Kami the Crescent Moon, if I'm saying it right. Again, cool card, but you're also helping your opponents. But we don't want to help our opponents. We want to just kind of kill our opponents. Oh, also anything that says angel. So like any angels, we just don't. If we're going to be sticking to our spiritness, I guess we're not gonna care about the angels. So like Angel of the Flight Alabaster, cool card. It's an angel, but we don't need it. Cutting that one. Also, a lot of like humans, even if they do cool things, like help you make spirits, we don't really need them. Or I don't think we need them. Apparently, I just don't think that they're as strong as other spirits we could put in there. So, Custody Soul Binders, like dude, all these names are stupid. Like that one, it's cool. It gets 1/1s. It's big. You can remove it. You can make white spirit creatures with flying. That's pretty much what you want to do with the deck. But I just figured I want to add more spirits. But I have in my head a list of like all the spirits that I love that I wanted to throw in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to, let's say, some other crazy things you're cutting out.
Yeah.
What are those? What are some other ones that you're cutting?
I still looking at more humans, and it also comes with that Dovin. I mean, it's cool to have a planeswalker, but I just don't think, for one, it doesn't make a spirit. It does make a creature with flying. That's cool, but it doesn't stick to the theme that you want to be doing. So I just chopped that one out. Um, this dude, Herald of the Wings, that seems really good, and I would keep that in, but it's the once per turn you can do his ability, which kind of sucks. So I don't. I do think we can find cards that are stronger than that. Um, again, angels. Even though the so the angel spirit, the karmic guide, I think it's a really strong card, but I just don't. I don't know. You can get
You just
cards
don't
back from
see
your
enough
graveyard, I
from it.
guess. Yeah, I just don't see enough. I know again. This is just these are all precon, and hopefully you guys don't get scared off that I'm deleting so many of these cards. But I promise we're going to be putting in my opinion, just better spirits that'll synergize and hopefully win the game for you. And then I guess just to round out the rest of these spirits that I'm cutting from a spirit deck, which sounds weird, but Spectral, Arcanist, Twilight, Drover, Hanged Executioner, and Spectral Sailor all just didn't quite make the cut, in my opinion. Decent cards that like this. I feel like this deck, the way it's built, Precon, it's probably a really fun deck to play. And honestly, I think I would probably play it a couple times before making these upgrades. But just those 4 cards that I said again, they're all spirits and they all do something, but just when you know all the different spirits that are out there, you can have a lot more fun with them.
You really want to work on that upgrade.
Yeah, I really like my whole thing was again, like I said, I went through and found my list of what I wanted to add before I even looked at what to delete because I know that there are just so many strong spirits out there.
So
Like
besides
yeah,
creatures, what else are we getting rid of?
a lot of the instants and sorceries. I say a lot, but it's only a couple. Just cards that I didn't think were as powerful as other things we could plug in. Um, it's like there's a benevolent offering. It's cool because you're gonna get your spirits, but you're also gonna be helping your team. You're helping your opponents, and we're not really trying to help our opponents right now. Things like Fell the Mighty, that's a good removal, but you still only get to keep the one card. I mean, that's cool. We'll find better avenues around that. Midnight Clock, I really don't even like the way that, or like, don't like what this does in this deck. Like, I don't get it. Like, you either shuffle your hand, draw new cards. I just took it out. Um, the Sorter and the Court, like a lot of the cards that have to do with investigating, I didn't really want to keep in just because, clues are cool, but I wanted to spend my mana on casting the cool spirits that I have. There was one counterspell in the deck, but it helped your opponent, so that's really stupid. We'll come back to that, but I want to cut it. Arcane Denial, I want to get it out of there. Haunting Intimidation. It's a sorcery card that, again, I just don't think it gets there for me. Like, it has to do with spirits. I get that, but we have more stuff coming up. I promise. It's gonna be fun. And then the enchantment Verity Circle. I don't know. I was on the fence for a lot of these cards, and I'm gonna be honest. I started to make cuts just because I had a number in my mind of what I wanted to plug in. So if it just didn't get there for me, I just cut it. And this was on the list. You can tap a card without flying for 5. Cool. I don't know.
How about the lands? Are we cutting any lands?
Oh yeah. So okay, so the base lands, I saw that it only had 35, and that's not a big deal, but I like to play with a little more. I know we're gonna have a curve that's gonna be shorter or a smaller curve, but I wanted to cut just a couple of the lands that were kind of like meh for me, and then add 4. So we're cutting 2 lands and adding 4 different lands. So we're gonna actually bump the land count from 35 to 70. Right, from 35 to 37. And the lands I wanted to cut were Temple of the False God. I mean, everyone knows this card; it's good, but you don't get any colored mana. And then Sky Cloud
It only
expansion.
activates too if you only had 5. So
Right. So early
having
game,
Temple
this
of
is
False Card.
dead.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, like I'd rather just have a freaking island. And then also like Sky Cloud expansion. I get that it fixes your mana, but we can do better.
All right. That is a lot of cuts. How many cuts do we have out of that?
All in all, 26.
26.
I know it seems like a lot, and hopefully, well, when people see the list too, it's like you're literally only spending $100 on this list. So a lot of these spirits, even though they're extremely strong in my opinion, they're not expensive.
So 26 cards leave, which means $100 worth of cards. Of
Yep,
That's going to be 26 cards for $100. What are we putting?
it is. It
What are we
is.
putting in here?
We're putting in. Well, I'll just go over some of my favorite spirits we're gonna be putting in there.
Spirit guy, tell me more.
Tell me more. All right. Well, first off, we got Kira, Great Glass Spinner, and I think this card is a stud. It's a legendary spirit for 3. It's 1 and 2 blue. It's a flyer, 2/2 that says creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter it. So you want to start removing my stuff? You better have 2 removals because they're all just going to get countered, and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
So that's a
very
stud.
good.
That's going in 100%. We got additions from like newer sets. Skyclave Apparition. I'm sure everyone knows about this card. And it does seem like a little weird to be thrown into an EDH deck because, it's 4 or less. And a lot of big things in EDH are more than that. But the way I see it, this is going to be more of a removal for like, let's say you have a person at your table that hits the nuts draw, which we've all had, where turn 1 they play Soul Ring into like a diamond or some kind of like more ramp, and you're just like, what the fuck? You're way ahead of me now. Just target that because it doesn't say a creature. It could be any non-land permanent.
Yeah, just get rid of any of their mana rocks.
Yep, that's why that's thrown in there, and it's also a spirit. Um, Another one from a newer set that the adversary, spectral adversary. I think that spirit is amazing because it's got flash, it's got flying, and then the for EDH this is crazy too because late in the game you can pump so much mana into this thing, and if someone tries to kill your board, boom, you can dump this, fade all your shit out, even your enchantments, and you're protected, which I think is an amazing, just like protection for your deck. Even though I guess it kind of does make sense because you don't really care if your shit dies because you're making the 1/1s, but it does actually lean more towards the enchantment side because your artifacts, enchantments, they won't make spirits when they die, so you want to kind of keep them alive.
Yeah, phasing out is awesome.
Phasing out is super awesome. And then I mean another new, I guess not super new, but Clarion Spirit. It's a really good spirit. And this deck is a lot lower of a curve since I cut all the like 6 and 5 and more mana. So hopefully we're playing 2 spells every turn. So we'll be making a 1/1 white spirit every turn with flying. Kind of adds to the deck. Or I mean, not even your turn, your opponent's turn. I feel like this deck is going to be a lot of like draw, play a land, pass land everyone else's turn but yourself. And then this card I found was super old, and it basically is like a selfless spirit, but it's a little different. The Kami of False Hope. It's only 1 white, and so instead of selfless spirit, which is colorless and a white, but it pretty much does the same thing. So you can sacrifice this, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. I know Selfless Spirit is make it indestructible, which I mean you could probably just throw both those in this deck if you want, but I went with this one because it was cheaper and I've actually never seen it. I thought it's kind of cool. Doesn't have flying either. So okay, arguably it is a. I'm kind of talking myself out of it, but arguably it is a dumbed down version of Selfless Spirit. But I liked it.
Yeah, it seems really good.
Yeah.
I think anytime you can not have to pay, I mean, just sacking itself just to prevent all combat damage,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yep. And then we got other spirits. I mean, this is an old one too, dude. Nico Ana. Am I saying that right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. This is a crazy spirit. 3 mana for a 2/2 that when it comes into play, you can just destroy an enchantment. So you can get rid of like the super strong enchantments on your opponent's board. But then it's even
Like
better because oh, sorry, what?
blow up their Smothering Tithe or something.
Yeah, which is your favorite card that I hate seeing. But what's really cool about this card is when you play another spirit card, I know it's a spirit or arcane, but honestly, I don't think we have any arcane in this deck. But the even better about this card, bro, is when you play a spirit, you can bounce it to your hand and play it again. So, let's say you kill the one enchantment, play a spirit, bounce it, play another one, play this again, kill another enchantment from your other opponent. It's constant, man. You just keep going.
You're really hurting people's enchantments.
I'm killing them actually, infinitely.
Infinitely.
Yeah. All right. Couple more to round it out. We got Dream Shackle Geist. This card's kind of cool. It's kind of different. It's 3 mana, 1 and 2 blue for a flying spirit, 3/1. But it has a persistent ability that happens every beginning of combat, which is awesome. At the beginning of combat, you can either tap target creature or target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So basically, you can just always make sure that you're getting in. If your buddy has like your opponent has like a big fat wall, tap that shit down. Or if he attacked with a big creature, keep it tapped down. And that happens every combat. So that's pretty cool.
I absolutely hate when that happens. When my creatures stay tapped.
Yep. So that's pretty good. The one and only shapeshifter that I decided to throw in here was Unsettled Mariner. So a white and a blue for a 2/2, so it's a bear. And it's a shapeshifter and it's changeling. So it's every card type. So it's a spirit. And whenever your permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability opponent controls, counter that spell unless the controller pays 1. So again, it's kind of like Kira, and the fact that it's countering stuff that it's countering removal effects from your opponents unless they pay 1. So I thought that was a good little interaction there.
That seems like a very good interaction.
Yeah.
I hate getting text.
Do you?
I really do.
Well, that sucks, man.
You got any other spirits?
We do. We have what is this? 7 more. These are where a lot of the like anthem effects are going to come into play too, because if we're going wide, we want our spirits to be bigger than 1/1s, hopefully. Um, but that's not what this card is actually. Sorry. So the first one I was going to bring in, Anafenza, Kin Tree Spirit, 2 white for a 2/2, and basically whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, bolster, and that just means that whenever you play a non-token spell or non-token creature, you're going to put a 1/1 on the smallest creature you control. So all your little 1/1s are going to start growing, which is good. Uh, Celestial Crusader is that card I want to throw in here. It's 4 mana, 2 and 2 white. It's got flash and it's a 2/2 against spirit. And it has split second. So basically when this card is on the stack, nothing else can happen unless it's a mana ability. So let's say they're trying to do something that kills a 2/2. He flashes bad boy in, he's got flying, and it says other white creatures get +1/+1. So boom, that's an anthem effect that's going to target all your spirits, or at least all your tokens. We got another one that's kind of like that too, actually. Partitioned Geist is a 3, 2 and a blue. It's a flyer, it's a 2/2, and it says other spirits you control get 1/1. So it's just shit that's giving all your creatures 1/1. So hopefully, if you have this and you have your Celestial, boom, now everything's getting 2/2. We also have one more spirit I want to throw in there with the same sort of effect, which is Empyrean Eagle. It's 3, a colorless, a blue, and a white. And it is a bird, flyer, spirit, 2/3. Pretty good stats. But then it just says other creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. So most of your spirits have flying. At least all your tokens definitely have flying. So at this point, we have 3 cards that will kind of do the similar effects to your cards. So we're just buffing up the team, dude, making them big.
Yeah, it's very rare to not see a spirit have flying, but
I mean,
I,
Anafenza doesn't, which sucks, but yeah,
yeah, that's just
most of them do.
one of the rare occasions. But
Yeah.
spirits flying, love it.
And then before we get there are just 2 big beaters that I threw in the deck, but before we get there, there's one more card that I thought was pretty special because it has just the interaction that can board wipe amazingly. Celestial Kirin is 4 mana, 2 and a white and a white. It's got a flying, it's a 3/3. And the cool part of this card is whenever you play a spirit, or again, arcane, but we don't have any of those. Whenever you play a spirit spell, destroy all permanents with that spell's converted mana cost. So that can be super mean. You might not get the big fatties, bro, but you're gonna wipe, like, this could be enchantments, artifacts, like, you're gonna wipe shit off the board.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a little board wipe.
Little board wipe that you can do over and over. Well, I guess until they kill this card, but hopefully you have pieces set up to, like, protect it. It's pretty cool, dude.
As long as you don't cast anything with 4 mana.
That's true. That is true. Alright, and then just the last 2 actual spirits, these are big fatties. These can be kinda running up the top of your curve. Like I said, I know I cut out a lot of the heavy ones, but you had to throw something in there so it's got some power to it. Well, the first one, Sturmgeist, it's a fatty. It's a 5 mana, 3 and 2 blue. It's a flyer. It's a spirit, obviously. And its power and toughness is equal to the number of cards in your hand. So it's a star, so it can grow and shrink. But what it says is whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So hopefully you'll drop this down. You'll have, 4 or 5 cards in your hand, hopefully. Boom. It's a good card draw. Start beating him in the face. It's a flyer. Can be buffed by the rest of this stuff because it's a spirit. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it can get out of hand very quickly, that card.
Yep. And then the last big beater, Drog Skull Reaver. It is 7, so it's kind of heavy. Little, but for what it does, it's worth it. It's 5 a white and a blue for a 3/5 flyer, double strike, a life link. So it's got some stuff on it. And whenever you gain life, you draw a card. So there's more card draw there. Oh, it's also a spirit, obviously.
All right, so that's all the creatures. But
Yep.
what are we looking at besides creatures? What are you adding into this deck?
Well, even though we have a $100 limit, I had to get some really good enchantments in here. Um, and a couple artifacts. And some sorceries. And an instant or two. Just a couple cards. Just a little bit of everything.
It's a little bit of everything.
But like I said, it's the $100 limit, so we couldn't go nuts with the deck yet. So there are so many more enchantments and artifacts that I wish we could add in here, and we probably will at the $300 deck. But this one,
Stay tuned.
yeah, stay tuned. Spoiler alert. But first of all, I'll go through a couple of enchantments that I want to throw in the deck. We got Court of Grace, which I think is a really good card for this deck. The synergy is insane. 4 mana, 2 a white and a white. It says that when Court of Grace enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. That's cool. That might not be relevant, but it's relevant to this card. At the beginning of your upkeep, you're going to create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Boom. That's your deck. But then if you're the monarch, you're creating 4/4 white angels with flying instead. That's cool. You know, hopefully you won't be the monarch always just because you do want spirits. But I won't say no to a 4/4 flying angel.
Yeah, sounds like a big beater.
Yep. And hopefully it'll stick around for a while and just cause mayhem and just continue to flood your board and go wide. The next enchantment is one that I think is really, really cool, especially because you're going to need some kind of card draw on this deck, I think. And this card will do it for you. Kindred Discovery is 5 mana, 3, a blue and a blue. And it says that when this enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. So you're saying spirits. And when you control, or whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. So every time you play one, draw on a card. Every time you attack, let's say you attack with 7, I'm pretty sure you're drawing 7 cards.
Yeah.
So this can get nutty. This is probably the most expensive card in the deck, but it's cool. It's really important.
Yeah, it seems like Kindred Discovery is a really good card for any tribal blue deck. So I think this fits amazing in your blue-white spirits.
Yeah, the pitcher is merfolk, but hey, spirits are gonna work. The last enchantment I think we should add right now is Bident of Thassa. It is an enchantment and an artifact, and it's legendary. Pretty cool. 4 mana which is 2 and 2 blue. And it says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So again, just more card draw. It also says you can pay 2 and tap it. Creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. So you can goat somebody to make them forced to attack. Let's say you have big spirits, you can block them and kill them. They might even attack you. They can attack somebody else. So it's got a lot of utility.
It's kind of mean, dude.
Yeah. Be like, hey, Hunter, I'm sorry, you're going to be attacking this turn, bud.
Oh, I don't want to swing my 1/1 at your 5/5.
Yeah, it's too bad, bud. All right, and then rounding it out, the last artifact I wanted to throw in here. There are a bunch, like I said, of artifacts that I would want to add, but they're pretty pricey. So to stick in the budget, I just picked this one. Icon of Ancestry is an artifact for 3 mana. And as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. I'm going to say spirits. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. It's a weird little theme going on, huh?
Yeah, seems
Yeah.
like you really are trying to buff these spirits for some reason. It's
Yeah, dude.
crazy.
I'm going wide. It
Going
also has
wide.
another ability. You can pay 3, tap it. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You can reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them. Put it into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. So if you need some help finding some more spirits, pay 3 and tap it. Find some spirits. Pretty good. And then just to round out, there's 3 more cards I wanted to add in here. 2 instants and a sorcery. I guess I'll go with the sorcery first. So to make up deleting Fall the Mighty, I found another card that I think just fits better because this one, hopefully it doesn't touch your side of the board, and that is Austere Command. And it is 6 mana, so it's kind of expensive. Same kind of price as Fell the Mighty, but what this does is the sorcery card, choose 2, and from the 2, you can destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, or destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So in my mind, you're picking either all artifacts, probably not all enchantments because you have a lot of enchantments. But either way, you can choose 2 of these. So let's say I choose all artifacts and I choose all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. Hopefully all my spirits live, all your shit dies. Seems good.
Seems good.
Seems like a one-sided board wipe.
Definitely.
All right. And then I guess just to round out the 2 last instances, that other uh, counter spell that I got rid of that I didn't like, Arcane Denial, we're going to replace it with just a good old counter spell because it is the same price and you just get the counter without giving them a card. Seems
That
easy enough,
makes
right?
that makes enough sense to me.
Yeah, it's a super just dump it in there real quick. And then last but not least, an instant card that I think is good in EDH no matter what you're playing, as long as it's in these colors. Uh, Sphinx's Revelation. Can never go wrong there, dude. A white and a blue and a blue and X. And so you can just dump all your mana in there, gain X life, draw X cards at instant speed. It's kind of good.
It seems pretty good to me.
It's kind of good, yeah. And that's just that.
And you mentioned you were adding 4 lands into this deck.
Oh, true. So like I mentioned, we're deleting Sky Cloud Expanse and Temple of the False Gods. Just they're not as powerful as cards we can add in there. And we also want to get to that number 37 land, not 35. So we're getting rid of those 2. And we're throwing in Deserted Beach. It's good from standard at the moment. Everyone should know this card, but it enters battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more. So it is the slow land set, but it's really good. All right, the next one is the Pathway in blue and white Henge Gate. I mean, it's really good. Either make it a white, make it a blue. And then we got Glacial Fortress. enter the battlefield tapped unless you control a plains or an island. You probably will control one of those. So you're coming untapped. And last but not least, we're going to throw in one shock hollowed fountain. And hopefully you know what that does, but you can pay 2 life, have it come in untapped, or just have it come in tapped. Doesn't matter. But I
Those
think
are all
that,
very good
yeah,
lands.
these are all very, very strong lands that, for the price, they're not that bad.
Speaking of prices, so
Yeah.
26 cards.
26.
I give you $100.
Give me $100.
What was your total?
I broke. I cheated.
How'd you cheat?
I spent $100.01.
Oh, $100.01. That's it, dude. That's bust.
That's it. That's bust. I'm sorry.
That's bust.
We'll have to remove a card. I apologize, guys.
Yeah, but all prices are from TCG player market prices. So I mean, you could find cheaper versions if you're just getting like maybe a lower quality, because most of these qualities are pretty high when it comes to market price. So get something a little damaged. Go underneath that penny. I'm just playing. 1 cent is nothing, dude. I'm proud of you. You actually hit almost 100 on the dot. That's impressive.
I did. All calculated, planned.
All calculated. So, before we leave, any last minute things you want to say about this $100 upgrade?
I just want to say that the goal of this was to, not have any kind of combo. I'm sure there could have went down many different avenues. And I literally just wanted to make a spirit tribal deck that kind of went super wide and hopefully caused your opponent to have trouble dealing with your board.
I think
That
you've
was the
succeeded.
goal. Yeah.
I think you've succeeded. Again, if you guys want to check out Shane's entire deck list, it is down in the description down below. We have it up on Moxfield. And as always, we will be back with Shane's $300 upgrade for Spirit Squadron. We also are coming out with the $300 upgrade to Vampiric Bloodline. Wait
Yeah.
for that soon, too.
Yeah.
Until next time, hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on our Instagram and our Twitter. That is @GuysThatMagic. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.